Mr. Sanders, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Did you just come in from Washington?
No, I took a train in yesterday, so
Okay.
I avoided the snow.
Okay, good. In Washington, like, what is going on? Wall Street is looking at Washington, but we don't really know. Is there going to be a deal, or is there not going to be a deal?
You know, I wish I knew. I have spent the better part of my life growing up in Washington trying to ignore what's going on on the Hill.
Probably good strategy.
But it seems as though the latest does seem that there's an appetite for some sort of resolution to the 3-month battle over funding. So obviously that's very important to those of us in the business sector to get that behind us, so there's some reliability knowing that we're not going to have a battle every 3 months over where the economy is headed.
I feel Wall Street and Main Street are just disappointed across the board because you've been, like, you know, the two sides fought for so many months, and then you decided, oh, let's meet each other halfway.
Right. Well, and in a lot of ways, it was, we're not actually going to solve it. We're just going to kick the can down the road.
Yes.
So hopefully what they're doing now is going to end up with some sort of long-term peace, which I think in political sectors means through the next election. And then the other thing that's been fascinating about all this is with all of this going on, unemployment is still getting lower. The employment
and for the right reason.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Not because of part-time or temp job. That was a few months back.
Exactly.
But, yeah.
All of that is happening not because of Congress, but in spite of Congress and the White House. And it gives us hope, those of us in the M&A world hope, that the fundamentals of the economy may be in a place where we can continue to see the gains that have been made in 2012 and 2013 propel us into 2014.
Are you happy with the recovery pace?
I think as a deal lawyer, we're never happy with the pace. I do believe that there is a recovery, and I do believe there are fundamentals there that will help us as we go into the future for 14 and 15. So I am cautiously optimistic about 14 and 15. I think that we all know that this is a global economy in more ways than it's ever been, and it's becoming more so every day. So whatever happens anywhere in the world could impact us. But I think right now things seem quiet. I think the U.S. is going to stop stepping on its toes, and they'll get out of the way so we don't have these budget fights every 3 months. And that makes me believe that hopefully in the coming months and the coming years we will continue to see the M&A activity grow. Do I think it's ever going to explode like some of us were expecting? No, I think we're just going to see modest increases.
Midterm election is less than 1 year away.
Right.
What do you see? How is it going to unfold? How is that going to impact the M&A space?
I think what we're going to see, and this is obviously prognostication, and doing this on video where someone could play it back in a few years makes me a little nervous, but my hope is that the American people are so fed up with the scorecard over who's winning and who's losing. All we really want are good jobs, a reliable economy, things we can count on to put food on the table and to watch our incomes and our salaries grow and to move the country forward that way. So stability is good. My hope, and from everything I've read, is that the people on Main Street and Wall Street get it, that it's no longer about whether Obama or the Republican House wins. It's about getting us on the same track towards some sort of reliability in what we're going to see, so that we can continue as business people to go do what we're doing, to increase production, and then that's when you get into all of the things that are going on in the economy that are really good for the United States. I mean, how many times have you heard about, well, our fuel independence is coming, that each year we're providing more and more of our own fuel so we don't need to go outside of the country. For the U.S., that's an amazing thing. What's also an amazing thing for the U.S. is there's a little bit of reshoring going on. There are companies that are looking again to the United States to manufacture, and that's bringing more jobs here. And is it a snowball rolling down a hill yet? No, but are we starting to see some gains that make us think that there are going to continue to be more jobs at every level of the economy that will help us all do well? And I'm optimistic about that.
Is there anything our lawmakers could do to make us more competitive?
Am I allowed to say get out of the way?
Sure.
Is that a,
of course. I want to say that too. Yeah.
I think we have to get out of the way, and my personal view is we do at some point need to grapple with the debt, because we're borrowing against our children and our grandchildren's futures, and sooner or later we've just got to swallow hard. Right. But at the same time, in 2008, when the government bailed out some companies, we all thought that was crazy, but you know what? That turned out to be a pretty good investment for the government. On the whole, the government's doing well with that, but so we need to see some sort of long-term stability, and I do think sooner or later that involves getting the debt under control.
In terms of business, like what do you think are some of the greatest challenges going forward?
Over the last 15 years, we've seen such amazing swings and such amazing ups and downs. And in 1998 and 99, the multiples on deals were flying through the roof, and then everything calmed down. And then things started growing again, 2003, 4, 5, 6, until the Great Recession. And as we've constantly seen, each one of these events, the internet bubble bursting and 9/11 and then the Great Recession, have caused people to more and more rely on fundamentals. Sure. And I think one of the things that I look at that puzzles me as a deal lawyer is the disconnect between the fundamentals we're all seeing whenever we do a deal. I mean, every deal has so much more due diligence now than it did in 1999. It's much more complicated. The tires are being kicked so much harder. There were tires that weren't even being kicked in 1999. People were throwing around cash, buying the business.
Like without checking?
They were checking, but you wouldn't consider it anything near what you do today. The number of management interviews, the number of outside experts that are being brought in to really pressure test financials, and every aspect, any type of contingent liability gets the once, twice, 3 times over and gets dealt with. Those are good things. Those are good things because it makes deals more likely to succeed. In the backdrop, you've got a stock market that keeps going up and up and up.
I didn't expect that.
No, and I didn't either. And the question is there a disconnect there? And if there is, how big is the disconnect?
Do you feel it is ironic that nowadays stock market goes up when we have less than optimal economic data coming out and people think, oh, Fed will not cut stimulus and therefore the stock market goes up. And if Fed is going to taper, oh, the stock market goes down.
I'm not a naysayer, so I don't want to make that leap to, well, the American people just believe, and everyone investing in the American stock markets just believe that the government will not let it fail because that runs you down a slippery slope. I prefer to be an optimist because I do think the fundamentals are getting better, and I do think the market hopefully will eventually right-size. If it's not already right-sized, hey, maybe we're lucky. Maybe it is right-sized. Maybe 5 years from now, people will be playing this video on YouTube, and we'll have over 1 million views, and they'll be look at that idiot who thought the market wasn't right-sized. That would be a great outcome for all of us. I remain bullish on M&A. I think there are a lot of smart people who understand the fundamentals, who understand what it takes to integrate a transaction. That's the other big change I've seen in the last 15 years, is the amount of attention paid to integrating transactions. And the way companies integrate transactions, in my opinion, as outside counsel, is that there's a lot more attention being paid to it. There's a lot more attention being paid to integration in the entire transaction process. And that really helps people understand what they have from day one and get started, rather than trying to swallow this company and then figure out what you have.
Right, so know all your cards before you go out there and do your homework.
Right, and that leads to better results for everyone. And I think that as long as we keep doing that, deals that make sense are going to happen.
Anything else you want to tell us?
Excited for 2014. I think we're going to continue to see growth in real estate. I think real estate's one of those areas that's ripe for a lot of growth, but also for people
U.S.
speculating.
real estate or global real estate?
U.S. right now. I mean, I don't know enough about global real estate to comment on that. I also think healthcare is going to continue to grow. Healthcare is a gift that keeps giving. Over the next decade or more, we're going to watch as private companies grapple with and understand Obamacare and understand where the hotspots are and where the hotspots aren't. You're going to see a lot of smart money continuing to move into healthcare. And then I think alternative energy is fascinating to me, because I think we've all come to the terms that there's no magic bullet. We're not going to be able to make gas in a lab. So how are we going to cure this? We're going to cure it by a little bit of wind, a little bit of solar, a little bit of bio, a little bit of biofuel, and smarter use and more efficient use of gasoline. And I think when you put all of those things together, it's going to continue to raise the outlook in that sector. And I think those are 3 exciting areas, along with telecom and tech and financial services, which are always going to be hot.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.